Oh my gosh, his hair. Welcome, 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 Black. I know I'm annoying. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited that you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really excited to get back into these topics that I think are very interesting, that I think need a lot of attention, and this is one of them. So as you can see from the title of this video, it might be some tea, but I've noticed, and a friend of mine pointed out to me, that there's a lot of men, not just black men, men of color, some white men who have gotten famous, whatever their platform is, from making fun of specifically black women. This is a thing. I'm gonna do some examples, and I think this is a problem. Now, want to say this. I am not coming for these men. I am not coming for these men. Not doing it. However you make your money, that's how you make your money. But I'm coming for the issue of the fact that black women seem to be the most disrespected person in America, and the fact that it's unfair that people have gotten money from being able to make fun of black women in the way that they do. And again, not coming for any specific people, but I'm just coming for the issue. I'm gonna get really into it. I'm really excited. And the thing is, a lot of people think it's funny. A lot of people think it's funny, and it's working for these men in terms of followers, or if they're on Instagram or various, social media platforms, movies, acting careers, whatever, it's working for them. And I think that's a problem. Please get some tea, get a snack, get comfortable, because we are about to get to it. I'm gonna let the intro play, and I'm gonna get right into it. Before I get into the historical context, I want to get into a quote that I think is very popular, but I just want to bring it into context for this video. Popular Malcolm X quote: "The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman." Context, it's really good to bring these issues that exist today into the context of the past, because it's not that different. So one aspect that I think is very similar is minstrel shows. So in terms of this idea of putting on a face, putting on whatever gear that is for you as an actor or just a comedian or whatever, and pretending to be someone who is lesser, is something that America has seen in its past. Minstrel shows were very popular between the 19th century and the early 20th century. Not too early into the 20th century, but around that time. And it was founded on the comic enactment of making fun of a specific race, based on literally just stereotypes. And oftentimes this would consist of white people, but black people too, and I'm gonna get into that. But white people literally painting themselves with some black paint and pretending to shuck and jive and be stereotypically black, which would oftentimes mean pretending to be, stupid, pretending to be poor, pretending to be, if they're a woman, pretending to be like angry and all over the place and just be a maid, and all these just really terrible things. It's important to note that minstrel shows usually made fun of the lesser black person, even within the black race. So it'll usually be, like I said, the poor black person, the stupid black person, and things like that. And that's going to be important later, so hold on to that note. But yeah, so one thing I really want to get at is that minstrel shows, of course, now we would be like, blackface, that's terrible. What? That's terrible. Absolutely not. But back in the day, these were a hit. And one example is the popular movie Birth of a Nation. So the 1915 Birth of a Nation consisted of, it was just terrible. I mean, it was like the KKK was glorified. It was white men in blackface. It was them pretending to do all these things. It's a mess. But the fact is that Woodrow Wilson, who was the sitting president at that time, loved the movie. The movie got a bunch of acclaim, and he actually played it at the White House. And I feel like it was the first movie to ever be played at the White House, but I'm not sure. First screening to ever be played at the White House, not totally sure. But I just want to get at the fact that this movie, of course, now, if you ever want to watch it, it's pretty disturbing, but, do you. But it's funny because now we would look at this and be like, that's racist, blackface is that's crazy. But at the time, this was regarded as a great movie. Black people also participated in minstrel shows. So black people would also paint their faces black, which I'm like, how? But you know, it is what it is. Paint their faces black and pretend to shuck and jive and dance around and pretend to be a stupid black person or a poor black person and these things like that. Now, I may get into this in another video. Comment below if you want, because I do think there is an issue with like maybe people who are like what black entertainers oftentimes have to do to get money, to get the roles, to whatever. So I think that might be a separate video if I really got into that. But looking at the fact that black people oftentimes had to do these if they wanted to make money as an actor, if they wanted to be a comedian, if they wanted to, you know, do X, Y, and Z, a lot of times feeling like they needed to put blackface on and shuck and jive for the white folks, literally, like literally. So I wanted to bring this up because this is essentially kind of the basis of entertainment in America. This is what, you know, it started on. And yes, we've come a long way in terms of media and representation. But if we really look at why it's so funny that these men are making fun of black women, it's like, well, have we come that far? Like, have we come that far? I just wanted to bring this into context because it seems very similar to me. The same male who puts on a wig or puts on a head wrap and, you know, makes fun of whatever, and in terms of making fun of black women, to me is very similar to a white person, or even black person, but white person painting their face black and shucking and jiving and dancing in front of people, and it's seen as funny and it's seen as entertainment. It's just a different time and it's a different butt of the joke. Even though back in the day in minstrel times, black women were also made fun of in terms of the ancient Jemima stereotype and various things like this. So again, I want to hit at minstrel shows were a hit back in the day. They were not. Of course, now, if that happened, we'd be like, that's terrible. Blackface is terrible. That could never be a thing. Get it away from me. It's gross. I don't like it. I don't want it. Whatever. But back in the day, these were a hit. And there's a lot of white men who are regarded as these amazing actors or various things that actually participated in blackface in terms of they put the makeup on, shucked and jived, and that's what it is. And I'm gonna name some. It's Billy Crystal, Bing Crosby, Neil Diamond, Robert Downey Jr., Jimmy Kimmel, Gene Wilder, and yes, Mickey Mouse. So that's really what it is. So yes, even though times have changed, it is interesting that there are some of these people who it's like, well, you know, you were doing that back in the day. And some men that we regard as like these amazing founders of whatever, Abraham Lincoln and Mark Twain both have gone on record praising minstrel shows during their time. So again, I'm just really trying to pinpoint at the fact that these were not regarded as something problematic back in the day. This was regarded as peak entertainment. So I wanted to get into that historical context before we get into kind of what today is talking about and the problems of today, just because I think putting into the context of history and minstrel shows just really brings a lot of the similarities in terms of why it is funny, why people have gotten famous off of mocking black women. So I bring all this up because I believe that mocking black women is another form of minstrelsy. I think that's what I think. I think putting on whatever someone does and specifically making videos that mock black women and getting famous off of it and getting money and various things is another form of minstrelsy, but in today's society. Comment below, let me know what you think, but that's what I really consider. And here's the point, I'm gonna connect it back to my earlier point. It was usually the lesser person who oftentimes back in the times of minstrelsy that would be made fun of, i.e. the poor black person, the stupid black person, etc. Here's what I seem to notice. When I see videos of men of color or white men in general, pretending to be black women and it's being regarded as funny. I notice it's always the big black woman, the dark black woman, the poor black woman, the ghetto or ratchet or stupid black woman, And again, it's similar to the fact that in menstrual times, it was always this person of a lesser, you know, status or whatever that was being made fun of, kind of mocking the person that's at the bottom or whatever. So that's what I noticed in a lot of these funny mainstream, you know, comic things when Black women are oftentimes made fun of, because in my experience, oftentimes it's more than likely always Black women or Latinx women, but I'm specifically talking about Black women being mocked. And again, this is going to the fact that if you're darker, if you're bigger, if you're poor, if you have some kind of, you know, addiction or mental health issues, oftentimes that's going to put you in another realm of oppression due to intersectionality. And bringing up this concept of intersectionality, I want to get into the popular misconception. It's a misconception. There's a popular misconception that men of color do not benefit from patriarchy. And I am here to say that that is F-A-L-S-E. That is F-A-L-S-E. That is F-A-L-S-E. That is false. That is not true. And the fact that these men have been able to be successful from doing this shows that patriarchy is working for them. Because if you're making fun of women in general, and then add on the Black aspect, and then add on whatever other issue, and you're able to do it and the other person isn't, then that means you have an advantage in some way. Hashtag patriarchy. So I'm not trying to play Oppression Olympics, and I do think white men have also made fun of Black women, but I do think that men of color, of course, have to deal with racism, and of course, if you're, you know, a part of the LGBTQAI plus community, then there's obviously other layers of oppression. So I'm not trying to say that, you know, men of color are not oppressed, because they definitely are, but women of color definitely are oppressed in the same ways. But then there's another level of intersectionality of relatively oppression. Again, not playing Oppression Olympics, but Black women have to deal with sexism, and Black women have to deal with sexism and do not get to benefit from patriarchy in the way that men of color do. If you're watching this and you're just like, I don't like what she's saying, I don't really get it, whatever, you know, you do you. But think about this. This is some food for thought, and leave in the comments below what your idea about this is. Me personally, maybe you know, but me personally, I cannot think of a woman of color, if we're making the same equivalence, I cannot think of a woman of color who has gotten money, who has gotten successful, who has gotten popular from making videos about Black men. And I'm doing that for the same equivalency. I cannot think of any woman of color who's gotten famous from making videos about Black men. Maybe you know some, so comment below. But the fact that I can't think of any, when I can think of a lot of Black men who have, I think that says a lot, and I think that talks to patriarchy right there, because I don't think that women would be able to make the same jokes and it be regarded as highly as men making jokes about women, specifically Black women, specifically Black women who have multiple intersections. So again, comment below if you think that, if you can name some women who have gotten famous in the way that men have in terms of making fun of Black men. Let me know, but I don't think there's any. So now that we've gotten into the historical context, we talked about the problem of today, I want to get into some tips, because I never want people to leave my videos thinking like, dang, like the world just sucks, Black women are hella oppressed, and that's it. Because, you know, I do think there are things that people can do, so I definitely want to put those up. So I'm going to go into tips, but I'm going to preface this again. I'm not coming for anyone specifically. I'm not coming for any man of color specifically, but I'm talking about these issues. I'm talking about the issue at hand here. So, and the fact is, in the past, I may have watched certain things, watched certain videos myself and been like, okay, that's funny, you know? And I think that people are brainwashed, and I think I was, maybe, who knows, probably still am, a little brainwashed, you know, in society, we laugh at certain things. So I'm not also trying to sit up on a high horse and say that I'm perfect, and, you know, but I want to talk about these issues, and always consider the fact that it's not the same. You know, either way, it still wouldn't be good, but it'd be different if we were living in a society where there was an equal amount of women of color making fun of Black men and getting famous off of it. And at least then you can say, okay, well, you know, whatever. But that's not the case. Think about these things and ask yourself this question: why is it that Black women are always the butt of the joke? Even if you are like, I'm still gonna watch it, it's funny, whatever. Think about it. Why are Black women always the butt of the joke? And if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, I want you to take everything away from this video, but the one thing I think you can also consider is the fact that people used to laugh at blackface. It's not that different. It's not that different. So when you're laughing, when you're watching this, you know, whatever, but think about the fact that people used to laugh when people would paint themselves in blackface and pretend to do terrible things and play into stereotypes, specific stereotypes of Black people. So now I'm gonna get into some tips. So tip number 1, be aware. I did that for you because my nails are actually done so I can get really close. But tip number 1 is be aware. You know, watch this video. If you're sitting here watching this video, thank you so much. Be aware of the fact that it's not equal. Be aware of the fact that Black women are always the butt of the joke. And be aware of how you feel. Be aware of how you feel. If you now maybe are like, you know what, this is kind of triggering. Like, I don't think this is funny. Don't support it. Don't watch it. Do what you want to do. If you really in your heart of hearts, you're like, I don't like this. Maybe you've changed your mind after watching this video. Maybe you've just started to realize a lot of things. Don't watch it. Don't support it. Do what you want to do. And I'm not sitting on here. I'm saying this for people who are feeling like not right in their spirit about this. And if you do want to support it, you might watch this and be like, okay, well, you know what? I still think it's funny. Support it, but just be aware. Consider things. Just always keeping in mind, being aware of society and how things are played out in society, but also your feelings and how you feel about certain things. And the moral dilemma, unfortunately, especially if you are a woman of color, specifically a Black woman, watching these things, again, you do you, but just think about it. Think about it. Be aware. That's tip number 1. So tip number 2, reverse the narrative. Help reverse the narrative. Help celebrate Black women. Celebrate Black women who are not just successful or who are not just pretty. Whatever pretty is to you. Celebrate Black women who are trying, who are the bigger Black woman, who are the darker Black woman, who are the Black woman who's struggling with addiction, who is the Black woman who's poor. Various things, but don't just support, because I feel like a lot of people do this. A lot of people are like, well, you know, she's cute, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I support her, or she's very successful, she's got 1 million accolades, she's an exceptional Black woman, I'm gonna support her. And it's like, if you're really gonna be in the business of supporting Black women, then that means you need to support all Black women. And if you do create the content, don't. I don't know what else to say. And number 3, educate yourself. Learn, read books, watch movies, watch my videos, read things, write things, whatever. Educate yourself. Always want to know more. Always want to figure out the issues, especially if you are someone who creates this content. Educate yourself. Always be wanting to know more. Always be trying to make sure you are not being problematic. Please share this video if you found something interesting. If you want to, I don't know, you just want to talk about it more, please drop your comments. Let us know how you feel about this. And if there's anything I want to leave you with, I want to leave you with this question. Why is it that Black women are always the butt of the joke? Even if you want to continue to watch certain videos, continue to laugh, whatever, do you. But really ask yourself, why is it that Black women are always the butt of the joke? So thank you for that. I wanted to leave y'all with that. Please comment below your thoughts, share, and subscribe to my channel. Please like this video if you found something interesting, even if you didn't. Please like it. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm excited. I feel like I've been a little more consistent with posting videos, so I'm excited to keep it going. I will see y'all next time, and thank you.